Alright guys, we are on nested loops. A nested loop is just a loop that inside of another loop. It doesn't matter what kind of loop you are working with. It can be a while loop or a for loop or whatever. Here is an example. We will create a loop to count the numbers 1 through 10. We will count to 10 three times. So let's create a basic loop for now. Let's just create for int I. I'll set this to 1, then semicolon. The condition will be I is less than or equal to 10. Again semicolon. Then I will increment I by 1, I plus plus. Okay. During each iteration, I will display whatever I is. In order to display what I is, we have to write standard colon C out, then I, right? Then I'll just add space in order to print clearly. Okay. Then Control S to save the program, hit run the program. This loop will count up to 10 just like that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so now I would like to count up to 3 times. Well, I can stick this loop in another loop. So let's create the outer loop. Let's just write above this loop for int. I'll set this to 1. Okay, just first make this curly braces. Okay, I'll continue this as long as I is less than or equal to 3. Okay, then increment I by 1. So I'm going to take this loop, this one, and stick it within the curly braces of the first loop. Okay, this is the outer for loop and this is the inner for loop. However, you don't want these loops to have same index, right? As a common naming convention for the inner loop is to use j as a counting index. We can replace this I with j. Let's just replace this I with j. Then we will able to segregate which is the inner loop, which is the outer loop. Okay. Okay, let's take a look. Just save the program, hit run. There you are. We are getting 1 1 1 1 2 2. Why? Because we want to count 10 3 times. And what is happening here? We are counting 1 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 times, then 2 10 times, then 3 10 times, because we are printing I. Now in order to print that 10 3 times, we have to print j, then Control S, hit run. Then here the answer should be now correct. 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 10 9 10 9 10 3 times, right? Okay, we have count up to 10 3 times. Now what I think I'm going to do is that every time we exit the for loop, the inner for loop, I will just print new line character. Okay, this is the inner loop. Then here we can go ahead and write standard C out, then new line character, right? And semicolon, Control S. Okay, just hit run. Yeah, that much better, right? 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and 3 line. Why it's happening right now? Because of this new character. We are counting up to 10, then we are hitting this new line, then we are again going to outer loop, then again coming to this, then again hitting this new line. Every time we are completing this inner loop, then we are hitting new line, then we are going there, right? So yeah, a nested loop is just a loop inside of another loop. Got it? Now, just as a practice project, let's create a program that will print a rectangle made out of symbols. We will let a user specify how many rows and columns we will use our nested loop that we created previously. So let's write int rows, then int columns, okay, then char symbol. Got it? We are going to ask for some user input. We will need some prompts. Let's just write standard, just prompt the question, see out. Question will be how many rows, right? Then input std cin for input, rows, the variable for your row input. Then we will just go ahead and copy this, and now we will change this row to columns, right? Then we will prompt question for the symbols, what symbols user want to print on the screen, right? Just let's write standard colon cout question. What will be the question? Enter a symbol to use. Then standard cin for input symbol. Got it? We will continue printing rows as long as I is less than or equal to rows, which is selected or entered by the user. We don't want any more rows than what the user wants. The inner loop is going to be in charge of the columns j. Then we will make our inner loop j is less than or equal to columns. In place of printing j, let's print our symbol whatever the user picked. Okay. Then in the place of j we have to write symbol. Okay. And we don't want to separate any symbol. Okay. All right. Let's just press Ctrl H to save the program, hit run. There you are. Now it's asking for how many rows. How many rows? What about 3 rows? Just enter 3, hit enter. Then how many columns? Let's enter 6 columns. Hit enter. Enter a symbol to use. What about has sign? Let's hit enter. There you are. We have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. We have 6 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it? And there are rectangles. There are 3 rows and 6 columns. Let's try one last time. How about 4 rows and 5 columns? And what about dollar sign? Let's hit enter. There you are. We have 4 rows, 5 columns, right? It's kind of rectangle. It's representing rectangle, right? So yeah, everybody, this is the nested loop. It's a loop that inside of another loop. When you really use this, it really depends on the situation. I thought this would be a fun practice project. Because of that, I have just done for you. Well, yeah, those are the nested loops in C++.